Live from News Channel 3, the desert's news leader. This is a First Alert Weather Alert.
A day of digging out and cleaning up across the desert. This video is from Palm Springs. The flow of mud and debris overtaking roadways. We're tracking a First Alert Weather Alert as the valley continues recovery efforts from Tropical Storm Hilary. And this video shows just how deep the mud is across neighborhoods in Cathedral City. Flooding still happening in parts of the valley, making it difficult to get around. Riverside County has issued a state of emergency. News Channel 3's Marion Bouchot is live along the I-10. Drivers were stopped for hours when heavy amounts of rain, mud, and debris hit the freeway. We'll check in with her in just a moment. And coverage begins tonight with our Samantha Lomibao live in Cathedral City, which saw some of the worst damage in the valley. And Samantha, not only damage to property and roads there, a number of rescues had to be performed in that area as well.
That's right, Karen. 46 rescues to be exact, and one of those happening right here in this neighborhood that you could see was heavily impacted. I mean, you can see the mud stuck to my boots, still ankle length. But if you go down the street where you can see many cars still stranded, there was a home there where 14 people, elderly people, were rescued from an assisted living facility. I mean, take a look at this video. I haven't seen anything like it here. You can see them taking the wheel dozers out to lift those people to safety. They tell me 6 of those people living in that assisted care facility were unable to move on their own. Now, fortunately, there were no injuries there, and there were no injuries reported throughout the city despite the many rescues that happened. But one resident in this neighborhood that I spoke with said he was shocked to see this damage.
I was shocked. I was shocked because the water was running pretty, you know, I call this is panorama, but when it gets flooded, I call it the Panama Canal. Water was up over the sidewalk, over my grass. Debris was, you know, everywhere. So it was an amazing sight, and one that I never thought I would see here.
Yeah, quite a sight last night, and it'll still be quite the sight for the next couple of days as the city continues to try to clean up the streets here. Now, even just a few minutes ago, we still saw residents late at this hour trying to sweep up their own sidewalks, their driveways, the street by itself. And we also saw a bulldozer going back and forth earlier trying to sweep up tons of mud to try and clean out everything that we have here. But as you can see, the damage has already been done to this property, to these cars. Fortunately, like I said, there were no injuries. But if you are planning on driving through those roads and you see mud like this, do not cross it. Actually, do not cross it. Officials are urging you not to do that because it is dangerous and it's not worth the risk. Live in Cathedral City, Samantha Lomibao, News Channel 3.
Some good advice there. This is what the I-10 looked like this morning after floodwaters covered the roadway in deep mud. Overnight, drivers were stuck on the road for hours, including our own Patrick Evans, our morning meteorologist. Caltrans crews working all day. Now, the good news is both sides have reopened, but that doesn't mean it's easy going. Our team coverage continues right now with News Channel 3's Marion Bouchot, who is live up on the Bob Hope overpass. And Marion, hopefully things are running a bit more smoothly at this hour.
Karen, this is the smoothest that I have seen I-10 eastbound and westbound all day. So just look at how smooth things are going right now. There is no more bumper-to-bumper traffic, but you can see right there we do have Caltrans cleanup crew still working to just get some of that water and flooded debris from the 10 freeway off the edges. But I talked to so many frustrated drivers earlier today who told me they've never seen anything like this before.
Tropical Storm Hilary left countless drivers stuck for hours on the 10 freeway.
It's like a war zone here. You know, it's a mess.
Flooding and debris forced a full shutdown closure on both sides of the freeway, stretching from Thousand Palms to Whitewater. Cleanup crews worked to clear the roadway as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, truck driver Oscar Ortega was left stranded.
Never seen before. I mean, you can see eastbound I-10 is like a little wash. I mean, mud all the way to knee high. I never seen it before. It's kind of, can you say amazing, but kind of scary.
California Highway Patrol directing drivers off the freeway to Varner Road.
A lot of traffic, just a lot of floods, a lot of road debris, and everybody just trying to get home. A lot of just chaos that just came out of nowhere, you know. And it happens, but.
The freeway westbound reopened Monday at noon.
Right now?
It's open.
All right, we're going. Perfect.
While the eastbound side reopened multiple hours later. But even after the 10 reopened, more traffic. It took my photographer and I more than an hour to travel nearly 10 miles. The eastbound Bob Hope exit flooded and partially washed away. A commuter nightmare that may continue for days.
I wasn't expecting it, but you know what? What can we do? It's Mother Nature. We have to respect her.
So cleanup is still underway over here on the 10, and you can see we have cleanup crews right here. There is still so much debris and flooded waters still going over, at least here at the Bob Hope and the I-10 eastbound exit. It is closed just like so many other on and off ramps throughout the valley. So even though both sides of the freeway are open, keep in mind that your usual route may not be accessible. So keep that in mind, plan ahead, check the road closures in the morning before you head out, and please give yourself plenty of time to head out to wherever it is you need to go. Live in Cathedral City, Marian Bouchot, News Channel 3.
Thank you, Marian, and I would suggest that you check your Google Maps or whatever you like to use for directions, because it's still showing us that the I-10 is red going eastbound, so you want to make sure you know what to look for in the morning. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Haley Clausen is tracking your conditions. Haley, Hillary's moved out, but what's next?
Thankfully, Hillary is gone, but unfortunately, the impacts from the tropical storm are still, of course, being felt, like you were just hearing about. Well, our skies have cleared, and they will continue to stay nice and clear as we head into our Tuesday. Temperatures below normal for August. Love that. We are going to be warming up through the week, but it is going to be very gradual. Skies nice and clear again all around the valley. Not seeing anything on radar for Southern California. All the activity really out over Arizona, western Arizona, streaming from the south to the north. It's been doing that throughout this afternoon, through the evening, and now into the night. That is not going to be impacting the Coachella Valley. Again, we stay clear for the time being, but that is good news for cleanup efforts around the valley. So whether you are going to be working in your backyard tomorrow morning, or maybe tomorrow you're just going to attempt to actually drive somewhere because hopefully a little bit more clearing will be taking place, know that temperatures are going to be pretty mild in the morning. Again, very mild for August. Low 70s, but then warming up into the mid 80s closer to 11 a.m. High temperatures tomorrow will be in the upper 70s, so a little bit warmer than what we felt today, but staying below normal. Coming up in my First Alert forecast, I am going to be tracking the warming trend that will be with us throughout this week, and I'm also tracking the return of some monsoon conditions. We'll talk more about that timeline again coming up in my First Alert forecast.
We're hoping to dry out a bit first. Thank you, Haley. And we continue to track damage from Hillary. Take a look at video of Avenue 44 in Indio. The running water completely ripping out the roadway there. And a reminder, help us keep the Coachella Valley informed by sending your photos and videos to share@KESQ.com. You can also find up-to-the-minute developments on flooding, road closures, and evacuation warnings on our website, KESQ.com. You're watching News Channel 3, the Desert's news leader. Residents in a Palm Desert neighborhood feeling overwhelmed by the extreme flooding in their community. The storm causing major damage. News Channel 3's Tatum Larson toured the property.
It's painful. It's very, very painful that I moved out here a year ago, and you know, I put a lot of money into making it my home to see it really just go to waste.
This is Lydia Duran. She just moved to the Spanish Walk community in Palm Desert, and now she stands to lose everything because of this weekend's historic storm.
With this heat and no air conditioning, it's just a matter of time that it'll start mildewing.
Duran is like many in the community whose homes are now entrenched in floodwater, despite doing everything right.
When the rain started to come down, my neighbors offered to put sandbags at my front door because we thought that maybe it would deter water from coming in. It didn't.
The neighborhood is hardly recognizable after the flood. This lake was a grassy park for residents to enjoy just a few days ago. The flooding was so devastating in this community that rescue teams had to use these rafts behind me here to rescue people who were trapped in their homes.
It's humbling. It's humbling. We take a lot of things for granted.
Clandestine Ocasio-Sum is describing what it was like to be rescued in one of these rafts. She didn't realize how badly she was affected by the flood until she went downstairs this afternoon.
I had actually just finished cooking our food for lunch before somebody started pounding on the door, and lo and behold, my whole first floor was flooded.
She and her son had to evacuate along with 6 of their neighbors. She still expressed her empathy for those who experienced the worst of the flood.
My neighbor, Miss Linda, one of her condos is all on the first floor, and so her whole place, she was just telling me everything she owns is destroyed, so I feel for her.
Well, we've been monitoring and walking up and down the streets yesterday, knocking on my neighbor's doors.
Scott Bryant is trying his best to be there for his neighbors during these hard times. Bryant is not alone when he says he hopes to never see something like this again.
It's a once in a century, type of a situation, but hopefully we can learn from it and prevent it from ever happening again.
In Palm Desert, Tatum Larson, News Channel 3.
CAL FIRE reported that the flooding at Spanish Walk created an electrical hazard. Rivco Ready are offering assistance to people who can no longer be in their homes there. While it wasn't just infrastructure that got damaged in the storm, there were multiple stranded trains in the desert due to flooding and mud on the tracks. Take a look at these images. Showing a train derailed near Palm Springs, Union Pacific says 2 routes in and out of Los Angeles Basin area are not running at the moment. No injuries have been reported, no word on how long that will take to clean it all up and get those trains back on the tracks. For more information on this story, head to KESQ.com.
And our skies are clear, our winds are calm, the umbrellas are back out at Starbucks. That's always a good sign. They were closed during the storm like they should have been, now back open because we have a lot of sun in the days ahead. Your first alert forecast is coming up next. You're watching News Channel 3, the Desert's news leader.